Hello, welcome to Thursday, 14th September 2023. Good afternoon. This is Midday Live. In the bulletin this afternoon, the National Cocoa Farmers Association of Ghana says new cocoa price for the 2022-2023 season is insufficient to combat smuggling. Also coming up, prices of fuel and liquefied petroleum gas are expected to go up by about 4% in the coming days. Details from the latest IES projection. And in international news, Mayor of Eastern Libya port city of Derna estimates between 18,000 and 20,000 people have died in flooding. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you in the next 60 minutes. My name is Noble Crosby-Annan and welcome to the program. Ranking member on the Agri Committee of Parliament, Eric Opoku, insists that government is shortchanging farmers in the latest cocoa price increment. At a cocoa farmers' derby at Dadiaswaba in the Afo region, the Member of Parliament for Esunafo North, South, noted that government should have made a better offer following the high price of the commodity on the world market.
Almost 25 million. What
they gave to you, the farmers, was 1,308. So for every bag of cocoa, President Akufo-Addo has deprived you of about 1,173 cedis. Now, the quality cocoa with premium was also not added. When you add the premium, it means government is benefiting more than 1,500 from your bag. The minority leader, Kessel Atuforsen, also criticized the NPP government for being insensitive and lacking interest in cocoa farmers.
25 million cedis.
The NDC government would have increased the price to 2,800 cedis. This government is insensitive. The next NDC government will increase the bag of cocoa for you. Be rest assured.
Well, in the arena of politics regarding the cocoa prices, the ruling NPP has also responded to the jab by the NDC. But let's speak with Edward Carrier, who is the General Secretary of the Agricultural Workers Union, on the back of the concerns raised by some farmers. But before we speak with Edward Carrier, let's take a look at what the NPP is saying, as the party has hit back at the NDC, accusing the opposition of spreading misinformation and twisting facts. Director of Communications of the NPP, Richard Ehagban, says government has not shortchanged farmers, contrary to the claims of the NDC.
We're here because the NDC is either intentionally, because they have been in government before, so I won't say they don't know, they know, but intentionally, for mischief purposes, confusing spot price with forward price that we have achieved. They are not the same. And so this is what the drama the NDC want to create in Ahafo. And we want to plead with you that the facts are clear. Those who care about Ghanaian farmers is clear. This government, this NPP government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, thought about Ghanaians and generated that additional income for them, a free $400 living income differential. This government, for many years, the dream in the Cocoa Board Act to create a pension scheme for cocoa farmers. This government is realizing that dream. That's the government that thinks about Ghanaians. This government that introduced cocoa rehabilitation program to ensure that cocoa trees that yielded 10, 20 pods per tree can now yield 100, 300 and more. That's the government that thinks about people. So we are not just getting Ghanaians better market prices, but we are investing in ways that their yields will go up. That's a comprehensive approach. That is not gather in Ahafo, in a church room, and do propaganda. The irony of it, in a church room, misinforming people.
So again, we're seeing the politics of cocoa prices and the role they play in the agricultural sector. Let's speak with Edward Kariwe from the Agric Union. Mr. Kariwe, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Now, General Agricultural Workers Union, your members work on the cocoa farms. The price increase must come as some good news for you. Talk to us about the back and forth from the NPP and the NDC. You are in the middle of this. What is the situation there like?
Well, let me say good afternoon to you, and then good afternoon to those who are watching us and listening to us. Well, I think that it's unfortunate that our leaders, both in the NPP and the NDC, have decided to play politics with this very important issue. We think that the issues are more to the core of the economy of Ghana and also the future of this country. I was thinking that they will all be looking at what they can do, first and foremost, to make cocoa production more efficient, cheaper, and then also to make sure that any activity like the Galamsey destroys the basic infrastructure for agricultural production. And then thirdly, they will also be working together to see how we can get the best of price in the international market. We are the producers, yet we don't determine the price at the international market. Those who are just buying from us, they make a lot of billions of money, and we just get just a small portion of it. I think as a country, we will have united to see how we can fight the common enemy at the international level, and also to fight the internal enemy. That is any activity that destroys the infrastructure of agricultural production, and for that matter, cocoa permanently. Galamsey is the thing that we should be talking about, because as we all know, cocoa farmers, some of them, out of frustration, decide to sell their cocoa farms to Galamseyers. Those who resist, face the cohesive, side of the miners by them diverting all the dirty water into their farms and then eventually forcing them to give up their farm. These are the things that we should be looking at. And whether or not this their debate, how does it benefit the farmers? How does it benefit Ghanaians? And how does it solve all these problems?
Right.
So I was thinking that we would unite as leaders to lead all of us so that we'll have a more improved cocoa production, and then to have the best of it for the people of this country.
Mr. Kariwe, I'd like for you to hold on for me and let's watch this. The president of the National Cocoa Farmers Association of Ghana says the current cocoa price announced by the government for the 2023-2024 season of 1,000 cedis 308 still falls below what is paid in Ivory Coast for the 2022-2023 season of 1,800. Now, speaking on Ghana Tonight, Stephen Singh Boateng noted the current price is still not enough to tackle smuggling of the cash crop.
The price was still 8,800. The government hasn't increased the cocoa of 2023-2024 season yet, but I know the price is like that. And I was trying to inquire about why it is like that. And he told me that people smuggle cocoa from Ghana to the place just because the cocoa at Ghana is 8. Before their price, which was approved by the government, was 1,450. And if government is increasing our cocoa and it goes up to 1,308, we are nowhere, because people will do it, and they will do it just because the price compared to the previous year is not even up to their level. And for that matter, this practice will never stop. You know what? We cocoa farmers nowadays don't trust any politician because they have frustrated us for a long time. Our worry is that they use we cocoa farmers for votes. They will give a lot of promises, but at the end of the day, they do nothing.
Well, the cocoa politics is always one that comes up between the two leading parties, but at the center of the crisis is the ordinary cocoa farmer. Mr. Kariwe, the NDC, in essence, is saying that the NPP could have done better with the price increment. The NPP, on the other hand, is saying that when the NDC had power, they did not think about cocoa farmers. From the farmers that you are leading, what is their take on the increment? Is it enough for them? If they wanted more, how much more would they have desired for?
Well, certainly you cannot begrudge any person, particularly a farmer, if they are asking for more. You know, they are asking for more in relation to the cost of living and cost of production. And we are all aware that in recent years, the cost of living in Ghana has gone so high, inflation has gone high, fuel prices have gone high, other inputs like fertilizers and so on have gone high. So certainly, I've also heard some farmers asking for 3,000 or more. Even if they ask for 4,000, 5,000, one cannot begrudge them because it is to meet the cost of living. But in all these demands that we make, we know that we have expectations and what the reality is or what can be afforded. So for me, I think that the increases in the producer price should be consistent, should be annually, every year. That would be better than to wait for 2 or more years, then you come and increase it at a blow. That is not so helpful. So certainly, I won't say that it is enough because I mean, if you look at cost of living, that cannot be enough. But when you are doing negotiations of this nature, we should know that all the stakeholders along the value chain may not get all that they want at the same time. So that's why I'm saying that it is the issue there is not whether it is enough or it is not enough. The issue is what can we, at this point, what is the future of cocoa? What are we seeking to do? You know, like the farmer just said, that the price increase may not be sufficient enough to take away the smuggling. And we need to pay particular attention to that. And government has to even come out that even countries that do not produce cocoa now export cocoa. These are the bigger challenges that we need to deal with. Whatever is good in Ghana, we produce in Ghana, we smuggle it out. What is not good for this country is smuggled in. Yeah.
Edward Kariwe is the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union there. Thank you so much for speaking with us. To some other subjects this afternoon, and the country has been shocked, inspired, and sometimes entertained by the happenings at the bipartisan parliamentary committee probing the alleged plot to oust the IGP. The chairman of the committee, Samuel Atachiai, seemingly admitted at a briefing on Wednesday that the viral tape at the center of the probe is doctored. This morning's report.
The committee, tasked by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, to proceed according to a number of terms of reference, began its work. A viral tape is the source material for the committee's work. Witness Bugri Nambu, who first appeared before the committee, described himself as the individual behind the secret recording.
Since I cannot keep everything they were talking to me at that point, it was very, very good to record them so that I know the president. If I tell him something, he'll follow up with the truth. Next time, he will not give me respect. You know him and I know him. So the best thing was to ensure that when I tell him, he asked me, "Are you sure?" I said, "Well, this is the tape. I don't want to miss it. You listen to it."
The tape has been described by some of the witnesses as doctored. This assertion seems to have been confirmed by the chairman of the committee after having the benefit of a fresh, comprehensive, leaked audio tape.
Does the second tape suggest that indeed the initial tape which went viral is a doctored one?
it seems to be the case because the second tape is one which is a very long discussion, which I can come to some understanding that they do not dispute.
The committee hearings have witnessed accusations and counter-accusations.
I will make that statement again, that the current Inspector General of Police is not managing the police service well. It's something I will not run away from. I will say it everywhere, anywhere that I go.
Probably my brother wanted to say I'm the best and he missed it. Because the records are there for everybody to see.
Emotions and laughter. The committee will reconvene on October 2nd to wrap up its work.
Now, the NPP's Presidential Elections Committee Chairman, Reverend Professor Aaron Michael Quay, has announced tough regulations for the upcoming presidential primaries on November 4. According to him, the committee has resolved a number of issues and requests made by the aspirants themselves.
We have resolved a number of issues and requests made by the aspirants themselves. We are generally agreed that there will be nothing like camping of persons so that people will come freely and vote freely on this occasion. And we are going to meet the police together with the EC officials so that everybody sings from the same hymn book on that day. No officials, regional party people, etc., can have any influence on that day. You go to your own constituency and vote, and then you are done. You will not have accreditation to enter any other area, so that there will be no allegations of some people being at certain places and influencing voters and so on and so forth. So that at the end of the day, it's clear and clean. We know there had been a lot of problems about proxies. People sometimes come and no one really can tell until the last minute. It's going to be resolved within a whole month before the election. In fact, we are streamlining and tightening the rules in such a way that at the end of the day, the NPP will win, not any particular person. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong takes number 1. The Vice President takes number 2. Honorable Dr. Akuto takes number 3. And Honorable Adanyemo takes number 4. That is the final placement by way of the ballots, and this is how it's going to be.
And after the balloting, Member of Parliament for Ascent Central and an aspirant for the NPP flag bearer position, Kennedy Agyapong, has urged party delegates to vote based on their convictions and principles rather than being swayed by financial inducements or intimidation. Speaking at a gathering of reporters after the September 13 balloting for the vote, he emphasizes belief that the delegates would choose him as a flag bearer because of his unwavering commitment to the cause.
Indication that I'm what God has chosen to lead MPP. If you believe in the Bible, you know, everywhere you go, Kennedy Agyapong is number 1. It's a clear indication that I should be given a chance to lead this country. So I'm pleading with delegates that the signs are clearly on the wall, that if you vote for Kennedy Agyapong, you definitely lead this country and break the 8. My expectation is to win because I'm a grassroots man. I have been fighting for the ordinary people ever since. So I know for sure, no matter the amount of money they're going to pay and the intimidation, they'll use their conscience and vote for their man because they don't think of today, but they think of tomorrow. So I have confidence in the delegates that no matter the amount they give them, they have the brains to choose the best candidate, a man who actually understands the plight of the polling station executives or the ordinary people in this country. So I have confidence that come November 4th, with all the intimidation and whatever, the delegates are going to speak. It's up to all of us, the contestants and their supporters, to abide by what has been put in place by the Elections Committee. So I'm satisfied with it. But individuals as we are, some may choose not to go by the rules and take the law into their own hands. That is the challenge we have now. But I'm advising all those who want to take the law into their own hands is that we need unity in the party.
Well, let's get some more insight on the happenings within the NPP and engage with Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, who is a political analyst. Dr. Okyere, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Good afternoon to you. It appears that Kennedy Agyapong still has some concerns with the levels of intimidation and vote buying, if you like, just like what happened in the August 26 election to reduce the number to 5. What's your take on that?
Well, let me say good afternoon to our viewers. It is of much concern that it's raising those issues. And I've said time without number that when it comes to the delegate system, probably as a political entity, for example, we may have to look into that. I don't know how we'll be able to change that. Is it the case of expanding the number beyond a reasonable, because Crosby, these things come a long way to affect the ordinary Ghanaian, because if someone buys the vote, he uses all the resources available to buy the vote. He goes ahead at the national elections, he's able to spend a lot of money and buy the vote. What do you think will happen when it comes to contractual arrangement? What do you think will happen when it comes to negotiations? So at the end of the day, you don't expect that all those financiers of these candidates will not have their way when that particular candidate wins. Right. And so what that happens is that they will be inflating contract prices. The contract that are awarded, they will inflate the prices. At the end of the day, we are in a debt crisis today. We cannot finance our debt. How did we get there? It is because all contracts have been inflated.
Right. Dr. Okyere, another issue that also came up was the address by the chairman of the committee. We're talking about Professor Michael Quay on the announcement of some restrictions or tough measures to ensure that the process is sanitized. Amongst the measures he announced, from where you sit, how successful or crucial are they in the running of the primaries?
Yeah, I think they are crucial and quite timely. And I believe that this might have emanated from the reasons that Alan gave when he resigned. And for me, it is spot on. It is to ensure that you don't have the opportunity of vote buying, more or less camping people, at their displeasure and so on and so forth. And all these things go a long way to change the image of the party. But if such pronouncements and of course restrictions, will take place, I don't know, because I mean you are not an invisible person. You cannot be at different places at the same time. And believe you me, it will still take place. That's the more reason why Mr. Kennedy Agyapong, Honorable, is complaining about things of that nature. And I don't think that it's going to change for now, because they did that in the Superdelegate Conference. And they're going to do that in the 4th November elections as well, or primaries.
Dr. Okyere, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst speaking with us there. We're still staying in the arena of elections. As lawyer for a private citizen who has cited the Electoral Commission for contempt over the limited voter registration, says the Electoral Commission is evading service from court bailies. According to Nick Papo-Samwa, it's been 3 days in trying to serve the commission, which has proceeded with the exercise despite an injunction application.
We instituted a human rights action at the High Court Tema and then followed up with an injunction application. So after the service of the injunction application on Electoral Commission, they still went ahead to conduct the limited voter registration. Because of that, we followed up with the contempt application. And this is what we were seeking to serve. We've been here for close to 2 hours at first we're outside, they weren't giving us access. Then we were able to get into the building. However, we are told that no official is in there. They are all gone out to supervise there, from the chairperson to even people at legal. They are telling us that even those at the legal department are not there. There's no single person in the building. So that's the information we have. So unfortunately, we've not been able to effect service. This is a contempt application. So the contempt application, the rule is that the person who is a respondent to a contempt application has to be served personally. So the respondents are Jane Mensah herself, Dr. Bossman, and I think one Mr. Samuel Tete. So they have to be served personally with a contempt application. After trying to serve someone personally 3 times or more, if you are unsuccessful and subsequent service will be impracticable or lead to undue delay, then your only recourse is to apply to the court for substituted service of that application.
We'll be getting details on the subject in our subsequent bulletins. But away from that, Ghana's participation at this year's first Global Robotics Challenge in Singapore may hit a snag. If funds of $30,000 to support the 7-member delegation is not complete. Students of Achimota School, they've devised an innovative solution that will ensure a cleaner and equitable energy future around the planet. George Queening is there. He's joining us to provide us on some updates and perspectives exactly what is going on in the school. George, thank you. Good afternoon to you. What's going on at the Achimota School?
Yeah, Crosby, thanks for having me. I'm coming to you live from the science block of the Achimota School. And actually, this is where Team Ghana is having its training boot camp. And this year, Achimota School is representing Ghana at the 2023 First Global Robotics Challenge. And so this is actually the 7th time Ghana is doing that representation. West State Girls has done twice of that. Archbishop Potter Girls, Ebri Girls, Manfi Girls. And actually, that's the first time we're having a mixed school doing that representation. According to STEMBs, who are overseeing this, they want to break the gender gap in STEM. It's a reason they are trying to just, concentrate on just single-sex schools. And this year, as I said, Achimota is representing Ghana. And over the years, in Ghana's quest to, participate at such challenges, one major challenge is lack of funding and sponsorship. And this year is no difference. And so the team here, that's a 7-member delegation that will be heading their way to Singapore, requires some $30,000 to, prepare and everything in terms of their accommodation, their flight, miscellaneous and all that. So if we don't get this money complete, it's going to hit a snag and we'll be able to, make that very participation. I'm privy to whatever they've done and they are very amazing students. And so this is what they are building for the participation, and this is the robot. So this year's team is on Hydrogen Horizons. And they're trying their best to ensure that they come up with some possible ways or innovative solutions to ensure that an energy-friendly planet. And so this is what it is. This robot was heavily represented last year, and so they've built on this for this year, participation. So this is what they're going to do this year. But we want to speak to the people that are overseeing this very project. That's STEMBs, and we want to speak to Linda Anson. Linda, I'm quite, worried that if we don't get that money, you cannot do that representation. I'm so worried.
Yes, we've been facing this thing for the past 7 years. Every time we reach out to corporate Ghana, we reach out to organizations, even ministries. In the past, we've been able to go due to sponsorship from organizations and ministries. This year, it has been a bit difficult. We were hoping that the school would have supported or the old students of Achimota would have supported, but they haven't supported as much as we had hoped for. So we are asking corporate Ghana, our fellow Ghanaians, everybody, to support us the best way they can so that we can take these students to Singapore to represent Ghana, because they've been working for the past 5 months on this thing. They started with no knowledge of robotics. They are in the robotics group here in Achimota, so they had some foundation, but this is like a high-level robotic challenge. So we had to train them from the basics, and then we even taught them how to code. And so they've come so far. So to come this far and not to go would be very disheartening. So we need their support.
The numbers are actually large, but because of the funding, they have to limit the numbers. So I think there are more than 10, but because of the funding, they were going to just limit the number to 5 of them. So they are doing 3 females and then 2 males. And I want to speak to the spokesperson and the team for this very group. And so let's speak to Papali. Papali, what really went into the building this robot?
Well, we put all our energy into it because we know that a lot of people are investing in us. So we put all our energy into it. We came together, worked as a team to be able to produce this.
Sophia, I know you are the spokesperson, so you do all the talking. Sophia, was it difficult coming up with this robot? When you're trying to just explain this to me on a layman's level, I didn't really grasp it. People are watching. I want you to explain it to them. What is the benefit of this very robot?
So our team has built this robot to take in water that's in the form of hydrogen and oxygen, and then separates them into their various forms. So the hydrogen can later be stored in its liquid and gas form, and then the hydrogen can be used as energy in our daily activities.
Do you feel proud to, let's say if you get the opportunity to represent Ghana, I would just want to know how you feel.
I would really be happy because after going through all this, if you don't go, you'll be sad.
So you want to approach the corporate Ghana for sponsorship or something? Okay. So you heard it from the students. That sponsorship needed to ensure that we represent Ghana at this year's challenge. And this is the robot that we're going to use for representation. And so a whole lot of work went into that, as you heard from them. And so if you're watching and you want to sponsor, you can contact STEMBees or even come to TV3, and that response will go through to ensure that we are heavily represented at this year's challenge. My name is George Quinn. We come to you live from the science block of Achimota School. Have a good afternoon.
George, thank you so much for joining us with those updates from the Achimota School. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. My name is Noble Crosby-Ano. Going for a break. We're back with more stories. Please stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo Superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period na say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me mogam no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kura mienu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwojo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nuru a ene ne ho eden a watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point what dance am me call you no me Jones sema na enkoyie empa na maye mre nyina na magina sebema na me be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. I'm free.
From the heart of our nation to your screens, we present Ghana's Most Beautiful, a show that brings forth the stories, dreams and aspirations of remarkable young ladies. Every episode unfolds a new chapter of discovery as our delegates immerse themselves in the culture, history and spirit of their regions. From thrilling challenges to heartwarming moments, witness their transformative journey to become the next Ghana's Most Beautiful Queen. GMB 2023, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Get ready for another cultural explosion like never before. On 21st September, Africa will witness an ultimate celebration of African diversity and flavor at the 3FM Afro Connect event. This is the place to experience the magic of African arts and creativity. You also get to unite in a sizzling jollof war competition, igniting a culinary showdown. Will Cote d'Ivoire hold the jollof war title? So whether you're passionate about food, art, games, or simply making new connections, 3FM Afro Connect event on the 21st of September is the place to be. Venue, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. To sell, call 053-220-0927. 3FM Afro Connect, connecting Africa and beyond.
Brought to you by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. The 3FM Afro Connect is proudly sponsored by
the age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix.
Enapa Foods. Say Enapa. Enye Ono Soko.
PGL.
Welcome back to the program. We're touching base with Menuafo for some business news. It's not too much of a good news for consumers of petrol products.
Yeah, it's been projected that fuel prices will be going up come this weekend. We've got the details coming up shortly.
Anyways, over to you.
Thank you so much. Welcome again to the business segments. My name is Menuafo. Now, you may have to pay more for fuel and liquefied petroleum gas at the pumps starting this weekend. The Institute for Energy Security has projected the prices could go up by about 4%. There's more in the following report. The Institute for Energy Security has forecasted price increases in fuel and liquefied petroleum gas for the next 2 weeks ending September. Gas, oil and LPG prices are to go up by 1% to 4% effective this weekend. These increases, the Institute has attributed to an increase in international market price of gas oil by 3.33% and LPG by 2.95%, coupled with a marginal depreciation of the cedi against the US dollar by about 0.97% on the forex market. Consumers are to brace up for the impending increments. Menuafo, 3 Business, Accra. Away from that, government has extended fresh invitations to bondholders of ESLA PLC and Dache Trust PLC. These bondholders, particularly those who did not sign up in February, are being encouraged to participate in a domestic debt exchange program. The following 3 Business Desk report has more.
September 13 press release from the Ministry of Finance urged holders of the domestic notes and bonds to actively and voluntarily accept their invitation and participate. It says it is reopening its invitation to the exchange that settled in February 2023 and is therefore once again inviting holders of the domestic notes and bonds of ESLA PLC and Dachi Trust PLC to tender their holdings of the eligible bonds in exchange for a package of new tranches of the same new bonds that were issued as part of the February 2023 exchange. The ministry in its statement indicated that the offer is to grant an opportunity to holders who were unable to participate in the February 2023 exchange program due to some delays. The release, however, clarified that the invitation is available only to registered holders of eligible bonds that are not pension funds. The domestic debt exchange program was launched in December 2022 with the hope of restoring Ghana's capacity to service its debt.
Meanwhile, ratings agency Fitch has predicted the exclusion of treasury bills in the domestic debt exchange program. It says the short-term securities is the only financing tool left for the government despite its high yields. Toby Iles is a senior director for emerging markets and African sovereign ratings at Fitch.
We don't expect T-bills to be brought into this. It is true that that would, obviously present quite a lot of savings. But just given the need for that as a sort of financing tool, we wouldn't expect that to be included. And I think in Ghana's case, but also just more generally, it's very complicated, I guess, to include that in a domestic debt restructuring. I guess the main question we would have now about the domestic debt restructuring is, is more about the medium term. When actually you've moved a lot of these maturities down the line, and so it sort of just magnifies the importance of the policy adjustments from now until then. Because as I say, when we get to 27, 28, we have this big hump of domestic debt service.
Away from that, Ghana's exchange rate loss of nearly 40% between January 2022 and January 2023 was the highest in Africa, data from the World Bank has revealed. According to the World Bank, exchange rates in the region mostly depreciated, making imported goods, including food and energy, more expensive. The following report has the details.
In a recent report by the Bretton Woods Institution, it revealed that countries like Ghana experienced a significant exchange rate depreciation. This depreciation was primarily attributed to costly fiscal measures employed to curb the impact of exchange rate fluctuations on inflation. The World Bank said, unfortunately, these measures resulted in a deteriorating fiscal situation, putting additional pressure on exchange controls and aggravating inflationary concerns. Meanwhile, the report revealed that Sudan saw the second highest currency depreciation at approximately 23%, following closely behind were Malawi with a depreciation of 20%, the Gambia at 16%, and Madagascar at 10%, ranking 3rd, 4th, and 5th respectively.
And that's it for the business segment. My name is Minwa. Stay with us with more news coming up. Crosby, please take over.
Thank you so much, Manu. You can log onto our website, 3news.com/business for some more business news. But in some more news, the Environmental Protection Agency, in collaboration with the police, has mounted a search for the co-owner of the quarry site that exploded in Shama last Sunday. Now, the other owner, said to be a Chinese national who was reportedly at the site at the time of the incident, is said to have died in the explosion. 4 others also died in the blast. Let's engage with a mining analyst on the back of that and the interventions put in place by the Environmental Protection Agency in a massive shake-up coming on the back of the happenings at the quarry site in the western region, and speak with Theophilus Jemaga. Mr. Jemaga, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Now, the EPA, the Minerals Commission, and the police say they cannot find the Ghanaian owner in the middle of this quarry. Could this hamper ongoing investigations from your experience?
Good afternoon to your listeners. I'm wondering what the role of EPA is
in the investigation. This particular incident you are describing now calls into question the licensing and monitoring regime of the Minerals Commission. Indeed, Act 703 says that generally a restricted mining license cannot be granted to a non-citizen. But he also says that it may be granted to a citizen if the citizen shows that they have $10 million and above. And it also says that where the minister is satisfied that the holder of the license has gone into an arrangement with a person who is not a citizen to the effect of transferring the right of that to the benefit to that person, the minister may cancel the license.
Right.
So I'm wondering now, who is actually the holder of the license? Is it the Ghanaian or the Chinese? If it is the Ghanaian and he has gone into a sort of arrangement with a person who is not a citizen, then that license should have been cancelled long ago.
Right.
Already, we have been told that they don't even have a license. So it means that the application they were making to even get a license is on the wrong foot. So it calls into question, again, the monitoring regime of the EPA, because this is a restricted mining license. In any case, assuming they are not even mining and they are doing prospecting or recce, that license to a restricted commodity, which is like clay, the quarry, clinker, etc., is not normally granted to a non-citizen.
Right. Mr. Jemiga, on the back of the comments you're making, there's been massive shake-up at the EPA following the happenings in the Western region. How important will it be towards bringing all of this to a beautiful closure?
I don't think it has been a massive shake-up. At best, I would describe it as moving people around. I mean, my check indicated that one of the names mentioned was already not in the Western region before this happened. So that could not be true that there was a shake-up. But they brought some, they talk about Ashanti region and Western region. They could do those shake-ups, but do they have the personnel to monitor and enforce? If they don't have the personnel to monitor and enforce, then we are doing nothing. And again, it comes to the discussion that what are the key performance indices of Minerals Commission? We need to do what are their key performance indices. And when they don't meet those indices, who carries the blame?
Right.
That is not stated. So going forward, I would have loved to see Minerals Commission states that if this happens, this is the person who is going to carry the load.
Right.
This will carry the can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Theophilus Jemiga is a mining analyst there. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. We're back with more stories. Stay with us.
Get ready for another cultural explosion like never before. On 21st September, Africa will witness an ultimate celebration of African diversity and flavor at the 3FM Afro Connect event. This is the place to experience the magic of African arts and creativity. You also get to unite in a sizzling jollof war competition, igniting a culinary showdown. Will Cote d'Ivoire hold the jollof war title? So whether you're passionate about food, art, games, or simply making new connections, 3FM Afro Connect event on the 21st of September is the place to be. Venue, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. To sell, call 053-220-0927. 3FM Afro Connect, connecting Africa and beyond.
Brought to you by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. The 3FM Afro Connect is proudly sponsored by
Welcome back to the program. Let's get some sports from Ore Kwampo. Over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Crosby. We start with the Black Stars, who will begin their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers from November 13 to 21 that's this year, when they host Madagascar at home and travel away to Comoros respectively. The next round of qualifying matches will then be played from June 3 to 11, 2023, all the way through to October 6 to 14, 2025, against the Central African Republic and Comoros respectively. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be staged in Canada, USA, and Mexico between June, July 2026. And remember, just teams that top their groups would automatically qualify for the Mundial next year, although there's a path for runners-up that would be explored later in the competition. Let's do some more stories where in the past year, Ashanti Gold have been demoted to Division 2 League before being subsequently suspended from participating in any Ghana Football Association related activity indefinitely. My colleague Emmanuel Owusu went to Obuasi and spoke to some of the locals and goes ahead to tell the story.
On 16th May 2022, Obuasi Ashanti Gold FC was demoted to the second division by the Ghana Football Association after being found guilty of match manipulation in the 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League. The club's demotion to the lower tier has not only significantly reduced the interest of football in the community, but has heavily impacted the economy of Obuasi. Businesses around the Lankley Stadium have experienced a sharp decline, with some shops closed down.
The suspension of Ashanti Gold has really affected me. The team manager used to buy water from me for the players during match days, and that has ceased for a year now.
I used to make about 500 cedis in sales from my fried plantain business during their existence. But nowadays, market is very slow because no football activity is taking place here. Market was great during their playing days, but nowadays, unless God's grace, it's difficult to make good money.
Transport operators and some artisans have also been greatly hit by this.
How I about to say, if it avoid away, who are how say be one cost stadium, be a quality with my coat on my scam on the accord. But who say be a bit in the car crabber, say be oh, me come here boy to me crash, I am ready to my.
Supporters across the country used to come around to repair their cars before and after games, but these days they don't come around. Obuasi is not a happy place anymore.
We used to wash cars during Ash Gold and Kotoko games in the past, even without going to the stadium. But the suspension has destroyed everything, so we are appealing to the GFA to temper justice with mercy.
Despite the current situation, renovation works at the Obuasi Lankley Stadium is ongoing. The club is hopeful they will be reinstated in Ghana's Top Flight League, scheduled to kick off this Friday, the 15th of September 2023. However, the case is at the Accra High Court and sitting will commence on the 11th of October 2023. Supporters of Ashanti Gold want the court and GFA to temper justice with mercy and reverse the club's demotion.
Bro, I swear, I'm begging, like, we are begging, let them help us, like before. So Ash Gold will come back, like, everything will be, like, perfect like before. Like now, everything is very, very hard than before. Okay? Right. I'm begging, okay?
The best court, yes, a good form. Court of good form. Ghana mine, yes, Ash Gold Air Club.
We humbly appeal to the courts and all Ghanaians to help bring Ash Gold back to the Ghana Premier League. Spare and forgive us on this and give us the chance to continue playing football. We can't let this facility go waste.
So that's the mood of Obuasi ahead of the new football season, which kicks off this Friday. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Midday Live. Up next on the bulletin is entertainment with Noella.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Well, what's in entertainment news?
Well, we have a full package. We have a feature on the Deogracia studio. It happens to be a photo studio in Jamestown that has all the photos you can ever think of from 1922. So we have a special feature on that one. Okay, now let's get into some entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Nwela Donko. Now, established in 1922, the Deogracia's photo studio has survived decades of Ghana's history with over 50,000 images that have been preserved. The entertainment brings you the story behind a hidden gem in the heart of Accra.
How did this studio come into being? And it's been here for over 100 years. What is the backstory?
Well, my grandfather established it in the year 1922. And since then, it's never shut. So last year, we turned 100 years.
What are some of the memorable events, especially when it comes to your grandfather and your father managing this entire studio?
Well, some of the memorable events have been when Kwame Nkrumah was taken out of prison, which is not far from the studio, and then also experiencing our independence. That were great moments that both my grandfather and my dad experienced.
Okay. So what of this particular picture?
Yes, this one includes some of the big six.
Okay.
With their lawyer for independence.
So that's J.B. Dankwa and then the...
Okay, see the members of the United Gold Coast Convention.
Wow. So this was taken in 1947.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. It has a beautiful history that should be told. Do you think we've appreciated this edifice enough?
Well, I think so far as the Ghanaian economy is concerned, no. Ghana as a whole, I don't think so. The studio is mainly patronized by foreigners who are undergoing their studies abroad, especially those who are studying anthropology. They come by and look for information for their thesis. And if I can help them, yes, I do. And the others are just tourists who are taking a walk through Jamestown, and then they walk in and we take them around, tell them a bit about what Ghana was then, before independence and after 1922.
Well, that's just a snippet of the full story that will be airing on TV3 New Day on Monday. And also some more stories. Boss of Roughtown Records and Wendy Shea's manager, Ricky Nana Ajuma, known popularly as Bullet, has said that he is saddened by claims that he kills his artists at the peak of their career.
And they have seen it, and I've seen a whole lot of, videos. Some are saying I'm into Illuminati. A lot, I've seen videos, pastors saying I'm into occultism, and I try to sacrifice my artists and a whole lot. And you know how hard this work is. Okay, so who will invest time, money, and everything into an artist, and when it's time to reap, the person will sacrifice or kill the artist? I don't understand this. You understand? Nobody will do that, not even the devil. Of course, if I were in their shoes, I'm going to think the same way. Because, why should this thing happen? I'm just praying to God, whatever that it is. I know I've not been to any juju, man. As I said, I'm not into anything apart. I only know Jesus Christ.
Bullet feels strongly that the accident that claimed the life of his former artist, Ebony Reigns, and Wendy Shea's recent accident is a spiritual attack to disgrace him. He intends to pray and seek God's face to avert such occurrences from happening in the future.
I'm trying to pray to find out what is really happening. My heart is clean, my hands are clean between me and God. I've never been to any juju place. I'm not into any occultism. I'm not into anything. I know it's attacks on me spiritually or whatever, so that I can be disgraced or whatever. I'm taking.
Well, that's it for entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Nwela Donko. Up next is international news.
In news across the Ghanaian border, the mayor of the Eastern Libya port city of Dana estimates between 18,000 and 20,000 people have died in flooding. Abdurrahman Al-Gaithi said his estimate was based on the number of districts completely destroyed when 2 dams burst. More than 5,000 people are known to have died and at least 10,000 are missing. Well, that's our package for you this afternoon, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Log on for more. My name is Noble Cross-Bian. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching the bulletin. See you again some other time. Stay with us here on TV3. Good afternoon to you, and bye-bye.